Welcome to my channel. Today I want to ask you a very simple question. Have you been learning English for a long time, but you still feel nervous when you try to speak? Maybe you know many English words. Maybe you understand grammar. But when you want to speak, the words do not come out easily. Your mind becomes empty and you feel shy or afraid. If this happens to you, you are not alone. Many English learners around the world feel the same problem. But the good news is that there are simple ways to improve your English faster and with more confidence. In this video, I will share some of the best English learning tips that can truly change the way you learn English. These tips are easy to understand and easy to practice in your daily life. If you follow these tips step by step, you will start to see real progress in your English. So stay with me until the end of this video, because the last tips may completely change the way you practice and help you become a more confident English speaker. Chapter 1. Today, I want to start with something very important. Before you learn new words, before you practice speaking, and before you study grammar, you need to change the way you think about learning English. Many people believe that learning English is very difficult. They think they must know perfect grammar. They think they must know thousands of words. They think they must speak perfectly like native speakers. Because of this thinking, many learners feel afraid to speak English. They worry about making mistakes. They worry that other people will laugh at them. They worry that their English is not good enough. This fear becomes a big problem. But the truth is very simple. You do not need perfect English to start speaking. You only need the courage to try. Every person who speaks English well today was once a beginner. They also made mistakes. They also forgot words. They also felt shy sometimes. But they did one important thing. They kept practicing. They did not stop. They did not wait until their English was perfect. They simply used the English they knew. Think about how children learn their first language. A small child does not study grammar books. A small child does not memorize long lists of words. A child listens to people around them. The child tries to speak. Sometimes the words are wrong. Sometimes the sentences are not correct. But the child keeps trying again and again. Slowly, the child becomes better at speaking. This is how natural learning works. Language grows with practice. Many English learners forget this simple idea. They try to learn English like a school subject. They read grammar rules again and again. They memorize many words. But they do not use the language in real life. This is like learning how to swim by reading a book but never entering the water. You may understand the idea of swimming, but you cannot really swim until you practice in the water. English is the same. You must use the language. You must speak it. You must listen to it. You must read it and write it. When you use English every day, your brain slowly becomes comfortable with the language. At first, it may feel strange. Your sentences may be simple. Your pronunciation may not be perfect. But this is completely normal. Every learner goes through this stage. Another important thing to understand is that mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are actually your teacher. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. For example, maybe you say a sentence in the wrong way. Someone corrects you. Now you know the correct sentence. Next time you will speak better. If you never speak, you will never discover your mistakes. And if you never discover your mistakes, you will never improve. So instead of being afraid of mistakes, you should welcome them. When you make a mistake, smile and continue speaking. Think of every mistake as a step forward in your learning journey. Slowly, your confidence will grow. And when your confidence grows, your English will grow too. Confidence is one of the most powerful tools for learning a language. When you feel confident, you speak more. When you speak more, you practice more. And when you practice more, your English improves faster. But if you always feel afraid, you will speak less. And if you speak less, your progress will become very slow. This is why changing your mindset is so important. Instead of thinking, my English is bad, try thinking, my English is improving every day. Instead of thinking, I am afraid to speak, try thinking, every time I speak, I become better. These small changes in thinking can make a very big difference. Learning English is not a race. It is a journey. Some people learn quickly. Some people learn slowly. But everyone can improve if they continue practicing. You do not need to compare yourself with other learners. Everyone has a different learning speed. The most important thing is to focus on your own progress. Even a small improvement every day is a big success over time. Think about learning English like building a muscle in your body. If you go to the gym one time, your muscles will not become strong immediately. But if you exercise a little every day, your muscles slowly become stronger. English works in the same way. Small daily practice makes your language stronger. So from today, give yourself permission to speak simple English. Do not wait for perfect sentences. Do not wait until you know every grammar rule. Use the words you know right now. Speak short sentences. Express simple ideas. The more you use English, the more natural it will feel. Also remember to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. Some days you will feel that your English is improving quickly. Other days you may feel that you are not improving at all. This is normal. Progress is not always easy to see, but if you continue practicing, improvement will always come. At the end of the day, learning English should not feel like a heavy burden. It should feel like an exciting journey. Every new word you learn is a new tool for communication. Every sentence you speak is a new step forward. Every conversation you try is a victory. So the first step to learning English better is very clear. Change the way you think about learning. Stop being afraid of mistakes. Stop waiting for perfection. Start using English with confidence, even if your sentences are simple. When your mindset changes, your learning will change too. And once you develop the right mindset, the next step becomes much easier. In the next chapter, we will talk about one of the most powerful habits that can improve your English faster than anything else. This habit is simple, but many learners do not use it correctly. When you understand this habit and start using it every day, your English will slowly become stronger and more natural. Chapter 2. Now that we have talked about the right mindset for learning English, the next step is to build a strong daily habit. The truth is very simple. If you want to improve your English, you must practice it every day. Many learners study English only sometimes. They open a book one day, then they stop for many days. After that, they study again for a short time. This kind of learning is not very helpful. When you practice only once in a while, your brain forgets what you learned before. Then you must start again and again. Learning English is like learning any other skill. If you want to become good at something, you must practice regularly. Think about someone who wants to play the guitar. If that person practices only once a week, it will take a very long time to improve. But if that person practices a little every day, the improvement will come much faster. English works in the same way. The good news is that you do not need many hours every day. Even 10 or 15 minutes of daily practice can make a big difference. What matters most is consistency. When you practice every day, your brain becomes used to the language. English slowly becomes a normal part of your life. One of the easiest ways to practice English every day is to talk to yourself. Many learners think this is strange, but it is actually a very powerful method. When you talk to yourself, you are practicing speaking without pressure. No one is judging you. No one is correcting you. You can speak slowly. You can think about your sentences. This helps your brain become more comfortable with English. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you can say simple sentences in English. You can say, "Good morning. Today I feel good. Today I will practice my English." These sentences are very simple, but they help you start your day with English. You can also describe the things around you. Look at your room and say what you see. You can say, "This is my table. This is my phone. The window is open. The room is quiet." This may sound very basic, but it helps you train your brain to think in English. Another good exercise is asking yourself questions and answering them. For example, you can ask, "What am I doing now?" Then you answer, "I am watching a video. I am learning English." You can also ask, "What will I do today?" Then you answer, "Today I will study. I will read a book. I will practice speaking." These simple conversations help you build speaking confidence. You can practice English while doing normal daily activities. When you are cooking, you can say, "I am cutting vegetables. I am making tea. The food smells good." When you are walking outside, you can say, "The weather is nice today. The sky is blue. I see many people." These small sentences help your brain connect English with real life. Another important tip is to speak out loud. Many learners read English silently in their minds. Reading is good, but speaking out loud is even better. When you speak, you train your mouth and your tongue to produce English sounds. Your pronunciation becomes clearer with practice. You can read a short paragraph from a book and say it out loud. You can also repeat sentences from English videos. Try to copy the way the speaker talks. Listen carefully and repeat the same words. This practice helps you improve your pronunciation and your speaking rhythm. Repetition is also very important for learning English. Sometimes learners think repetition is boring, but repetition is actually how the brain learns. When you repeat words and sentences many times, your brain begins to remember them naturally. Slowly, these sentences become automatic. For example, you can practice simple sentences again and again. Sentences like, "How are you?" "I am fine." "What are you doing?" "I am learning English." These sentences may seem very easy, but they build a strong foundation. When you know many simple sentences, speaking becomes easier. It is also helpful to create a small daily routine for English practice. For example, you can decide that every morning you will practice speaking for 10 minutes. In the evening, you can listen to English for 15 minutes. Before sleeping, you can read a short English paragraph. This simple routine can create powerful progress over time. Another great idea is to record yourself speaking. You can use your phone to record your voice. Speak about your day for 1 or 2 minutes. After that, listen to your recording. When you listen to yourself, you may notice your mistakes. You may notice words that are difficult to pronounce. This helps you understand what you need to improve. At first, you may feel uncomfortable listening to your own voice. Many people feel the same way. But after some time, you will become used to it. And you will also start noticing your improvement. When you hear your own progress, it becomes very motivating. Remember that daily practice does not have to be difficult. The goal is to make English part of your normal life. Small actions repeated every day can create big results. A few sentences in the morning, a few minutes of speaking practice, and some listening or reading can slowly build strong language skills. The most important thing is to keep going. Even if you feel tired, try to practice a little. Even if you make mistakes, continue speaking. Each day of practice makes your English stronger. When you build this daily speaking habit, something very interesting begins to happen. Your brain starts recognizing English sounds more easily. You begin understanding more words when people speak. This leads us to the next important step in learning English. In the next chapter, we will talk about another powerful secret that many successful learners use. This secret is listening. Listening trains your ears, improves your pronunciation, and helps you understand how real English sounds. When you combine daily speaking with strong listening practice, your English will improve much faster than you expect. Chapter 3. Now we come to another very important part of learning English. This part is listening. Many learners want to speak English well, but they do not spend enough time listening to English. Listening is very powerful. When you listen to English every day, your brain slowly learns how the language really sounds. You begin to understand pronunciation, rhythm, and natural sentences. Think about how babies learn their first language. Before they start speaking, they listen for many months. They hear their parents talk every day. They hear words again and again. Slowly, their brain understands the sounds of the language. After some time, they begin to speak small words. Then they start making sentences. Listening is the first step of natural language learning. English learners can use the same method. When you listen to English often, your brain becomes familiar with the language. At first, You may not understand everything. This is completely normal. Many learners become frustrated when they do not understand every word. But you do not need to understand everything. Even understanding a few words is progress. The important thing is to keep listening. Over time, your brain begins to recognize more and more words. Sentences that once sounded confusing will slowly become clear. Your ears will become trained to understand English. There are many simple ways to practice listening. One of the easiest ways is watching English videos. You can watch videos on YouTube that are made for English learners. These videos usually use simple words and clear pronunciation. This makes learning easier for beginners. Another good method is listening to English podcasts. Podcasts are like radio programs on the internet. Many podcasts are made especially for English learners. You can listen to them while walking, cooking, or relaxing. This allows you to practice listening even when you are busy with other activities. English songs are also a fun way to practice listening. Music helps you remember words and sentences. When you listen to a song many times, you start remembering the lyrics naturally. This can improve your vocabulary and pronunciation at the same time. Movies and TV shows can also help you learn English. At first, you can watch with subtitles. Subtitles help you understand the meaning of the sentences. When your listening becomes better, you can try watching without subtitles. This will train your ears even more. However, one important tip is to start with easy content. Many learners make the mistake of watching very difficult movies or listening to fast conversations. When the content is too difficult, it becomes frustrating. Instead, choose slow and simple English content. This allows you to understand more and feel more confident. Another powerful listening method is repeating what you hear. This method is often called shadowing. When you listen to a sentence, pause the audio and repeat the sentence. Try to copy the pronunciation and the rhythm of the speaker. This practice helps you improve both listening and speaking at the same time. For example, imagine you hear a sentence like, "Today is a beautiful day." You can pause the video and repeat the same sentence. Try to say it the same way the speaker says it. Repeat it 2 or 3 times. This helps your mouth learn how to produce the sounds correctly. You can also listen to short stories in English. Stories are very helpful for language learning because they are interesting and easy to follow. When you enjoy what you are listening to, your brain pays more attention. This helps you learn faster. Another helpful idea is to listen to the same content many times. Some learners think they must always listen to new material. But listening to the same story or video again can actually be very powerful. The first time you listen, you may understand only a few words. The second time, you understand more. The third time, you may understand most of the sentences. Repetition helps your brain notice details that you missed before. It also helps you remember useful phrases and sentence patterns. Over time, these patterns become natural in your speaking. Listening also teaches you how English is spoken in real life. Sometimes the way people speak is different from what you see in textbooks. Native speakers often connect words together. They speak with a rhythm and flow. When you listen often, you begin to understand this natural style of speaking. Another good idea is to listen to English every day, even if it is only for a short time. 10 or 15 minutes of listening each day can bring great improvement. Consistency is very important. Just like speaking practice, listening practice becomes powerful when it becomes a daily habit. While listening, try to stay relaxed. Do not worry if you miss some words. Focus on the general meaning. Ask yourself simple questions. What is the topic? What are the speakers talking about? Even if you understand the main idea, you are already making progress. You can also combine listening with speaking. After listening to a short story or video, try to explain it in your own words. Use simple sentences. For example, you can say, "The story was about a man. He went to the market. He bought some food." This small exercise helps you practice both understanding and speaking. Slowly, something wonderful begins to happen. The more you listen, the easier English becomes. Words start sounding familiar. Sentences become easier to understand. And when your listening improves, your speaking improves too. Listening is like filling your brain with English. Speaking is using what is inside your brain. If you listen a lot, your brain collects many words, phrases, and sentence patterns. Later when you speak, these words and patterns come out more naturally. But listening alone is not enough. To become a strong English speaker, you also need a good vocabulary and strong sentence building skills. You need words to express your ideas clearly. In the next chapter, we will talk about how to build your vocabulary in a smart and simple way. You will learn how to remember new words, how to use them in sentences, and how reading can help you become a stronger English learner. Chapter 5. Now we come to the final chapter of this lesson. In the previous chapters, we talked about mindset, daily practice, listening, and building vocabulary. All these things are very important. But there is one more powerful idea that can make your English learning much easier. This idea is very simple. You should make English a part of your daily life. When English becomes part of your everyday routine, learning becomes natural and enjoyable. Many learners think that English learning only happens when they sit with a book or when they watch a lesson. But this is not the only way to learn. In fact, some of the best learning happens during normal daily activities. When you bring English into your daily life, your brain begins to see the language everywhere. Slowly, English becomes something natural instead of something difficult. One simple way to start is by changing the language on your phone to English. Most people use their phones many times every day. When your phone is in English, you will see English words again and again. Words like settings, messages, contacts, camera, and notifications will become familiar. At first, you may feel a little confused, but after some time, these words will become very easy to understand. Another helpful idea is to follow English content on social media. Many platforms have short videos, posts, and stories in English. You can follow pages that teach English or share simple English content. When you scroll through your phone, you will see English sentences and hear English words. This creates small learning moments throughout the day. Watching English videos regularly is also very helpful. You can watch educational videos, stories, or even simple daily conversations. When you watch videos often, you hear how English is spoken in real situations. You also learn common phrases and expressions that people use in everyday life. You can also try to think in English during your daily activities. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you can think, I need to brush my teeth. When you go outside, you can think, the weather is nice today. When you are eating food, you can think, this food tastes very good. These thoughts may be small, but they train your brain to use English naturally. Another powerful habit is speaking with other people in English whenever possible. If you have friends who are also learning English, you can practice together. You can have simple conversations. You can ask questions and share ideas. Even short conversations help improve your speaking confidence. If you do not have someone to practice with, you can also use online language communities. Many websites and apps allow people from different countries to practice languages together. You can talk with someone who wants to learn your language while you practice English with them. This is called language exchange, and it can be a very exciting way to learn. Recording your voice is another useful technique. Sometimes you may not notice your own progress, but when you record yourself speaking, you can listen and hear how your English sounds. You may notice your pronunciation improving. You may also notice that your sentences become longer and clearer. This can give you motivation to continue practicing. Setting small goals is also very important. Big goals can sometimes feel overwhelming. For example, saying, I want to become fluent in English may feel like a very big challenge. But small goals are easier to achieve. For example, you can decide to learn 5 new words every day. You can decide to practice speaking for 10 minutes each day. You can decide to listen to English for 15 minutes every day. When you reach these small goals, you will feel proud of your progress. This feeling of success will motivate you to continue learning. Over time, many small goals will lead to big improvement. It is also important to remember that learning English takes time. Some days you will feel very confident. Other days, you may feel frustrated. This is normal for every learner. Progress does not happen in a straight line. Sometimes it moves slowly. But if you continue practicing, improvement will always come. Try to stay positive and patient. Instead of focusing on what you cannot do yet, focus on how much you have already learned. Maybe a few months ago you could not understand English videos. Now you can understand many sentences. Maybe before you were afraid to speak. Now you can say simple sentences with confidence. These small improvements are very important. Another important thing is to enjoy the learning process. Learning English should not feel like a boring task. You can make it fun by watching interesting videos, listening to music, reading stories, and talking about topics you enjoy. When learning is enjoyable, you will want to practice more often. Imagine your future for a moment. Imagine that one day you can speak English confidently. You can travel and communicate with people from different countries. You can watch movies and understand them easily. You can read books and learn new ideas. You can even find better job opportunities because you can speak English well. This future is possible. But it starts with small steps today. Every new word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every minute you spend listening to English brings you closer to that future. Remember that fluency is not magic. It is the result of many small actions repeated over time. When you practice every day, listen often, learn new words, and bring English into your daily life, your skills will grow naturally. So keep going. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your small progress. And most importantly, never stop practicing. Your English journey is just beginning, and with dedication and consistency, you will become a confident English speaker.